Hello everybody. In today's video we are going to be finding side lengths using proportions. So in this case we are going to be assuming that these figures are similar, and we're going to use that information to say that these sides have to be proportional. That way we can find out what these sides are. So in this case let's look at number 4, okay? Because if we jump right into it I think this will help a little bit. So if the figures below are similar, so we're saying that these two shapes here, we're saying this shape and this shape are similar, which means all these angles are going to be the same, but the sides are going to be proportional. And if you need a review, please check that out in the last video. It says they have a scale factor of 2 to 3. All right. Now, we have to think which one is the 2 and which one's the 3. Well, we're going from 2 to 3. So we're going from smaller to larger, right? So we're actually going from this shape to this shape, right? So our scale factor, if we know it's 2/3, right? Then what we can do is we know that, and we also know that they have to be proportional, right? So we know that 2/3, which is the scale factor, we know that that has to be true when we are comparing 42 to whatever the x value of this one is, right? We know that this is going from 2 to 3, and we also know it's going from 42 to x. So we can set this up like a proportion like this, and now we have 42 times 3 equals 2x, right? So we have 126 equals 2x. So we divide by 2, and we know that that side, or in other words x, equals 63. So this side has to be 63. And if we look at it, right, 42 over 63, right, that is the same as 2/3, right? So that's how we can check our work, right? We know that it's supposed to be 2 to 3. All right, so now let's do this one. So if the figure belows are similar with a scale factor of 6 to 5, find the value of x. Well, first of all, we have to know that this 28 is going to be matching up with this x, right? Because those are the only two sides we have. And we're saying a scale factor of 6 to 5. So it looks like we're going from the bigger one to the smaller one, right? 6 to 5. So the reason I write these in here is because it just helps me, right? So I can go, if I know I'm going from 6 to 5, I'm also going from x to 28. You see how you can kind of look at it this way? For me, it just makes things a little bit easier. And just looking at this, it doesn't look like it's going to come out to a super easy number, but that's fine. We can figure it out. So we're going to have 5x equals 28 times 6, which is 168. All right, and then we're going to divide by 5, and yeah, this is not going to come out clean. But if we divide by 5, we get 33.6. All right, so if we get x equals 33.6, then that means that we know that this side here is 33.6, which also means that 33.6 over 28 has to equal 6 over 5 if you reduce it. All right, awesome. So far, so good, right? So now if we look at these, it gets a little bit trickier, but just do the same thing that we did in the past, right? So I'm going to go over 6 with you, and I'll save 7 for you to do on your own. But if we do the same concept where we look at this, right, we know that ABC is congruent, or not congruent, I'm sorry, similar to DEF. So let's just write them in just like we did last time, right? ABC, DEF. So ABC, DEF. And now let's move some of these over, right? So if DE here, we know DE is 25. Well, DE is 25, right? And then EF is 20. EF is 20, right? So we're trying to find the value of x. Well, if we go from this one to this one, it doesn't really matter which one we go from to the other, but let's go from this one to this one. So the original was x over 25. And then on this one, we're going to do, well, 28 over 20. All right. So now we're going to get 20x, because we're going to cross multiply, remember? So we got 20x equals, 25 times 28, carry the, is 700. So we divide by 20, divide by 20, and of course 7 times 5 is x equals 35. So this number here has to be 35, right? Now, if it asked us to find the scale factor, this would get pretty simple, right? Because we would know that we went from 25 to 35, and we could just reduce this to 5 over 7. And that would be finding the scale factor. It didn't ask us to do that, but that's all that we would have to do, right? We would know that we went from 25 to 35, so it would be 5/7. All right. And that's, of course, if we went from this one to this one, because we went from smaller to larger. All right. That's it. I'll leave number 7 to you. Just follow the same method that I did for number 6, and you should be fine. Pretty quick and easy lesson. I will see you guys in the next section.